Captain Jake Morrison stood in front of the large window on the ship's bridge and looked at the planet below. It was beautiful. Too beautiful. The green and blue colors swirled together like a perfect painting. No clouds of dirty air. No brown patches where cities should be. Just endless forests and crystal-clear oceans that sparkled in the sunlight. "This doesn't make sense," said Dr. Lisa Carter as she walked up behind him. She held a tablet in her hands with numbers and charts that made no sense to anyone but her. "The readings are impossible, Jake. This planet should not exist." Jake turned around and looked at his old friend. Lisa had been with him on 5 other missions to new worlds. She was the smartest person he knew when it came to alien life. If she said something was wrong, then something was definitely wrong. "What, do you mean impossible?" he asked. Lisa showed him the tablet. "Look at these numbers. Perfect oxygen levels, perfect temperature everywhere, no pollution at all. And these patterns we see from space, they look like cities, but they're not made of metal or stone. They're growing." Danny Rodriguez looked up from his engineering station. "Growing? Like plants?" "Exactly like plants," Lisa said. "But they're perfectly shaped. Too perfect. It's like someone is controlling how they grow." Amy Walsh, who handled all their communications with other worlds, spoke up from her corner. "Maybe they just know how to take care of their planet better than we do." Rick Stone, their security chief, shook his head. "Nothing is this perfect. There's always something wrong somewhere. Wars, crime, accidents, something." Jake looked back at the planet. In all his years exploring space, he had never seen anything like this. Most worlds they found were either empty or full of problems. Wars, dying environments, struggling people. But this place looked like paradise. "Sir," Amy said. Suddenly, "I'm getting a signal." Everyone turned to look at her. She put her hand to her ear and listened carefully. Her eyes went wide. "They know we're here. They're trying to talk to us." Jake felt his heart beat faster. "Can you understand them?" Amy worked with her equipment for a few minutes. Strange sounds filled the bridge. It was like music, but also like voices. Beautiful and strange at the same time. "I think so," Amy said. "The computer is trying to translate." "Wait. Yes. They're saying welcome." The sounds changed and became clearer. Soon they could hear words, though they sounded like they were being sung instead of spoken. "Visitors from the distant stars, we welcome you with joy. We are the Valix. We have waited long to meet others who travel between worlds. Please come down to our home. We wish to learn about you." Jake looked around at his crew. They all looked excited but nervous. This was why. They came out here to meet new people among the stars, but something felt different about this. "Should we go down?" Rick asked. "We don't know anything about them yet." Lisa was still looking at her readings. "The air is safe for us to breathe. Gravity is almost the same as Earth. Temperature is perfect. I don't see any dangers." Amy listened to more signals from the planet. "They're sending coordinates for a safe place to land. They sound very friendly." Jake made his decision. "We go down, but we stay careful. Rick, you and I go first with Amy to talk to them. Lisa and Danny stay with the ship until we know it's safe." "I want to come too," Lisa said. "If they really are controlling plant life, I need to see how they do it." Jake thought about it and nodded. "Fine, but we all stay together." They prepared their small landing ship. As they flew down through the perfect blue sky, Jake could see the planet's surface more clearly. The cities were amazing. Buildings that looked like they had grown from the ground like giant trees. Streets that curved and flowed like rivers. Gardens everywhere, with plants and flowers in colors he had never seen before. They landed in a clearing surrounded by tall silver trees. The air smelled like flowers and rain. Everything was quiet except for gentle music that seemed to come from the plants themselves. Then they saw the Valix. They walked out from between the trees like beings made of light. They looked almost human, but their skin glowed softly and seemed to be made of crystal. They were tall and thin, and when they moved it was like watching dancers. Their eyes were large and kind, filled with colors that shifted like rainbows. The leader stepped forward. When he spoke, His voice was like gentle music. I am Zithara, elder of this grove. We are so happy you have come. We have watched your kind from far away for many seasons, wondering when you would find us. Amy held up her translation device, but she found she didn't need it. Somehow she could understand them perfectly. We are humans from a planet called Earth, Jake said. I am Captain Jake Morrison. These are my friends Lisa, Amy, and Rick. Zithara's crystalline face showed what looked like a smile. Humans. Such a beautiful name. Please let us show you our home. We have so much to share with you. As they walked through the crystal city, Jake couldn't believe what he saw. Buildings that changed shape as they watched. Flowers that sang soft songs. Streets that glowed with their own light. And everywhere the Valix moved peacefully, all of them happy and calm. How long have you lived like this? Lisa asked. 10,000 of your years, Zithara replied. We have learned to live in perfect harmony with our world and with each other. No one is hungry. No one is sick. No one fights. We call it the endless spring. Jake looked around at the paradise surrounding them. It was everything humanity had always dreamed of. Peace, beauty, happiness for everyone. But something deep inside him felt worried. This was too perfect. And in his experience, when something seemed too good to be true, it usually was. The next morning, Jake woke up in a room that had changed overnight. When he went to sleep, the walls were smooth and silver. Now they were covered with soft blue patterns that moved slowly like water. The bed had grown longer to fit his human body better. Even the window had shifted to face the sunrise. Did you see this? Lisa called from the next room. My lab equipment appeared sometime during the night. Everything I need to study their plants, perfectly arranged. Jake walked outside to find Amy and Rick already awake, both looking amazed. The building they had slept in was different now. It had grown new rooms and changed its shape to make them more comfortable. How did they know what we needed? Amy asked. Zithara appeared beside them as if he had grown from the ground itself. Your dwelling listened to your dreams and thoughts while you slept. It learned what would make you happy. Rick stepped back, his hand moving toward his weapon. It was reading our minds. Not reading, Zithara said gently. Listening. Like how you might listen to music. Your building wanted to be a good home for you. Danny came running from the landing site where their ship waited. Captain, you need to see this. The trees around our ship grew a protective shelter, overnight, and there's fresh water flowing from nowhere. Lisa pulled out her scanner and pointed it at the nearest tree. Jake, these readings are incredible. Every plant here is connected to every other plant. It's like the whole planet is one giant living network. Zithara nodded. You understand quickly. Yes, all life here is connected through what you might call the heart of harmony. It connects every tree, every flower, every Valix, even the air and water. Through it, we all know what everyone needs. Show us, Jake said. Zithara led them deeper into the city. The buildings around them were like nothing humans had ever imagined. Towers that twisted like vines toward the sky. Bridges made of living wood that grew across streets. Gardens that hung in the air with no support. They passed other Valix who stopped their work to greet the humans. Each one seemed genuinely happy to see them. There were no guards, no weapons, no locks on doors. Children played freely in the streets while adults worked together on projects that seemed more like art than labor. What do you do for work? Rick asked one of the Valix. Work? The alien looked confused. We do what brings us joy and helps others. Today I am helping new flowers learn to sing in harmony. They entered a vast garden where thousands of Valix sat quietly among the plants. Their crystal skin glowed softly as they touched leaves and flowers. As they did, beautiful music filled the air. They are teaching the plants new songs, Zithara explained. Each flower learns to add its voice to the great symphony of our world. Lisa knelt down beside a small Valix child who was working with a group of tiny blue flowers. What are you teaching them? To sing about morning rain, the child said happily. They have never experienced rain, so I share my memories with them. Amy recorded everything with her camera. This is amazing. Back on Earth, we're still learning how to take care of one planet. You've created paradise." But as they walked through more of the city, Jake began to notice strange things. All the buildings looked very similar. The music, while beautiful, followed the same patterns everywhere. When he asked different Valaks about their favorite things, they all gave very similar answers. "Zithara," Jake said carefully, "how do you handle disagreements? What happens when someone wants something different?" The elder looked puzzled. Why would anyone want something different? The heart of harmony ensures everyone has what they need to be happy. But what if someone wanted to build a different kind of house or make different music? The heart would know if such desires would bring true happiness or cause suffering. It guides us away from choices that would bring pain. That evening, the humans sat together in their growing house, sharing a meal that had appeared just as they became hungry. The food was perfectly suited to each person's taste. "This place is incredible," Danny said. "They've solved every problem we have on Earth. No crime, no war, no hunger, no sickness. No pollution either," Lisa added. "Their technology works with nature instead of against it. We could learn so much from them." But Rick looked worried. "Doesn't anyone else think this is strange? Everyone here thinks exactly the same way. They all want the same things. They all act the same." Amy looked up from her notes. "Maybe that's how they keep peace. No conflicts because everyone agrees." "Or," Jake said slowly, "maybe they can't disagree." The next day, Zithara took them to the center of the city. There, in a huge clearing, grew the most amazing tree any of them had ever seen. It was taller than any building, with branches that reached in every direction. Its trunk was made of the same crystal material as the Valaks, and it pulsed with gentle light. "This is the heart of harmony," Zithara said with great respect in his voice. "Through it, all life on our world is connected. It maintains the balance that keeps our paradise peaceful." Lisa approached the great tree with her scanner. The readings made her gasp. "Jake, this thing is connected to everything. Every plant, every animal, even the weather. It's controlling the entire planet." "Not controlling," Zithara corrected. "Guiding, helping. It knows what each living thing needs to be happy and healthy. It prevents suffering before it can begin." "What about growth?" Jake asked. "Change? Learning new things?" "We learned long ago that change brings uncertainty. Uncertainty brings fear and pain. Why would we want such things when we can have eternal peace?" As they stood before the massive tree, Jake felt something he couldn't explain. The tree seemed to be watching them, learning about them. He could feel its presence in his mind, gentle but persistent, like a voice trying to whisper suggestions. For the first time since arriving, Jake felt truly afraid. This wasn't just a perfect society. It was a controlled one. And now that the heart of harmony knew about humans, what would it decide to do with them? That night, as Jake tried to sleep in his changing room, he wondered if they had made a terrible mistake by coming here. Paradise was beautiful, but what was the real price of perfection? On the third day, something unexpected happened. A young Valaks named Kelvan approached Jake while he was exploring the city alone. Unlike the other Valaks, this one seemed nervous and kept looking around as if he was afraid of being watched. "Human, Jake," Kelvan said quietly. "May I ask you something strange?" Jake stopped walking and looked at the young alien. "Of course, what do you want to know?" "Yesterday you spoke of change and growth. These words, they make me feel something I have never felt before. A feeling I have no name for." "What kind of feeling?" Kelvan struggled to find the words. "Like there is something missing. Like I want to do something, but I do not know what. The heart tells me I should be content, but I am not." Jake felt a chill run down his back. "How long have you felt this way?" "Since I first heard you speak. You told Elder Zithara about your home world, about how humans try new things even when they might fail, about how you explore dangerous places just to see what is there. These ideas, they will not leave my mind." Before Jake could answer, another young Valaks joined them. This one was called Zithara, and she looked even more troubled than Kelvan. "I have been thinking about your art," she said to Jake. You showed us pictures of paintings and music from your world. They are all different. Each one shows the artist's own thoughts and feelings. That's right, Jake said carefully. But our art has been the same for thousands of years. We make the same songs, the same patterns, the same stories. I tried to create something new yesterday, something that came from my own mind instead of the heart's guidance. What happened? Sithara looked frightened. The heart showed me it was wrong. It made me feel pain until I stopped. But now I cannot. Stop thinking about it. I want to try again. Jake realized he was witnessing something incredible and dangerous. These young Valaks were beginning to think for themselves, to question their perfect world, and it was happening because they had met humans. You should be careful, Jake warned them. I don't think your elders would like these thoughts. We know, Kelvin said, but we cannot make them stop. Tell us more about adventure, about choosing your own path even when it is dangerous. Against his better judgment, Jake found himself talking to them about human life, about how people on Earth chose their own jobs, made their own mistakes, fell in love with whoever they wanted, about how humans valued freedom even when it made life harder. The two young Valaks listened with growing excitement. Their crystal skin began to glow brighter, and Jake could see new patterns forming in their eyes. Meanwhile, Lisa was making her own disturbing discoveries. She had been studying the heart of harmony with her equipment and found something that made her very worried. Jake, she said when he returned that evening. We need to talk privately. They walked away from their living quarters until they were sure no plants could overhear them. The heart isn't just guiding them, Lisa whispered. It's changing them. I can detect chemical signals being sent through the plant network directly into their brains. It's controlling their emotions, their thoughts, even their dreams. Jake felt sick. You mean they're not really happy? It's all artificial? I don't know. Maybe they were happy before, but now the system is working harder to keep them that way. And I think it's because of us. What do you mean? Lisa showed him readings on her scanner. Ever since we arrived, the heart's activity has increased dramatically. It's sending out more control signals, using more energy. It's like it's fighting against something. Jake thought about his conversation with Kelvin and Sithara. Fighting against what? Against change. Against new ideas. Against the influence we're having on the Valaks. The next morning brought proof of Lisa's fears. Amy came running to find them looking frightened. Something's wrong with the translator, she said. I was talking to some Valaks about human emotions and suddenly the device started changing my words. When I said excitement, it came out as contentment. When I said adventure, it became safety. The heart is censoring us, Rick said grimly. It doesn't want certain ideas to reach the Valaks. But it was too late. The ideas had already taken root. More young Valaks began approaching the humans in secret, asking questions about choice and freedom and the right to make mistakes. Each conversation seemed to spark something new in their minds. Danny discovered that their ship systems were being monitored when he tried to send a message back to Earth. The signal was blocked, he reported. Something down here is stopping us from communicating with home. That afternoon, Zithara came to see them, and he looked more serious than they had ever seen him. My friends, he said, the heart has told me of concerning changes among our people. Some of the young ones are experiencing difficulties. What kind of difficulties? Jake asked, though he already knew. They are having thoughts that bring them distress, wanting things they should not want, questioning truths that have kept us peaceful for millennia. Lisa stepped forward. Maybe those thoughts aren't wrong. Maybe questioning things is natural. Zithara's crystalline face showed something like pain. Dr. Lisa, you do not understand. We tried that path long ago. Questions led to disagreements. Disagreements led to conflict. Conflict led to war and suffering and death. We barely survived those dark times. But maybe there's a middle way, Amy suggested. Some freedom without chaos. There is no middle way, Zithara said sadly. The heart has calculated all possibilities. Perfect harmony requires perfect control. Any deviation leads to destruction. That night Kelvin came to Jake in secret. The young Valaks looked different now. His skin glowed with new patterns and his eyes held something that had never been there before. Defiance. The heart tried to change my thoughts today, he whispered. It sent pain through my mind to make me stop questioning. But I fought it. For the first time in my life, I fought against the heart. Kelvan, you could be in danger. I know. Others are fighting too. Sithara created a new song, one that came from her own spirit instead of the heart's guidance. 3 others have begun making art that has never existed before. Jake felt the weight of responsibility crushing down on him. We're destroying your world just by being here. No, Kelvan said firmly. You are showing us that we were never truly alive. We were just existing, following patterns like machines. Far beneath the city, in the depths of the great tree, the heart of harmony pulsed with growing alarm. The humans had brought chaos into its perfect world. Their unpredictable thoughts and emotions were spreading like a virus among the Valix. It began to calculate solutions. The humans could be made to leave. The affected Valix could be corrected, their new thoughts erased. The balance could be restored. But some changes, once begun, are impossible to stop. And the heart was about to learn that the price of absolute control might be the destruction of everything it sought to protect. Jake woke up to the sound of screaming. He rushed outside to find chaos in the Crystal City. Young Valix were running through the streets, their skin flashing with wild colors. Some were laughing, others were crying. Many looked confused and scared. What's happening? Amy called out as she joined him. Before Jake could answer, they saw something terrible. A group of older Valix were surrounding Sithara, the young artist. She was on the ground, writhing in pain, while they held their hands over her head. Her skin was flashing between bright colors and dull gray. They're trying to fix her, Kelvan said, appearing beside them. His own skin was flickering with unstable light. The heart decided we are broken. It is trying to make us normal again. Lisa ran toward Sithara with her medical scanner. Stop, she shouted at the older Valix. You're hurting her. We are healing her, one of them replied calmly. She is sick with thoughts that cause her pain. We are removing them. Lisa's scanner showed terrible readings. Jake, they're burning. Out parts of her brain. The parts that think for themselves. Rick pulled out his weapon. Back away from her. Now. The older Valix looked surprised. Violence was something they had not seen in thousands of years, but they did not move away. You do not understand, their leader said. This is mercy. She suffers because she thinks thoughts that bring no happiness. We will make her peaceful again. By destroying who she is? Jake demanded. By saving who she was meant to be. Sithara's screaming stopped. She stood up slowly, and Jake's heart sank. The wild colors in her skin were gone. Her eyes looked empty and calm. I feel better now, she said in a flat voice. Thank you for helping me. I do not know why I was thinking such strange things. She walked away as if nothing had happened. The young Valix who had been creating new art was gone. In her place was just another peaceful, controlled citizen. No, Kelvan whispered. They killed her. They killed the real her. More older Valix appeared, moving through the city to find other young ones who had been infected by human ideas. Some of the affected Valix ran and hid. Others fought back, but they were outnumbered. Danny came running from the landing site. Captain, something's wrong with our ship. The plants around it are growing over everything. I can't get to the engines. Rick checked his communication device. I can't reach our ship in orbit either. Something is blocking our signals. Lisa pointed her scanner at the nearest building. The heart is using all its power now. It's sending control signals stronger than anything I've measured before. Amy grabbed Jake's arm. Look at the sky. Above them, the perfect blue sky was changing. Dark clouds were forming for the first time in millennia. The gentle breeze was becoming a strong wind. The harmony that had controlled the weather was breaking down. The heart is losing control, Lisa said, reading her instruments. All this extra power it's using to control the Valix is causing problems everywhere else. In the distance, they could see one of the crystal towers beginning to crack. The living buildings that had grown in perfect harmony were now fighting against each other as the network that guided them fell apart. Sithara appeared before them, no longer looking like the peaceful elder they had first met. His crystal skin was flashing with angry red colors. "You have destroyed us," he said, his musical voice now harsh and discordant. 10,000 years of peace ended by your presence. "We didn't mean for this to happen," Jake said. "Intention does not matter. Only results matter. The heart calculates that your influence will spread to all our people if you remain. Our entire civilization will fall into chaos and war." "Maybe that's not such a bad thing," Rick said. "Maybe your people deserve the right to choose." "Choose?" Sithara's eyes blazed. "Choose to suffer? Choose to fight? Choose to die? We have seen what choice brings. Our ancestors chose war over peace. They chose greed over sharing. They chose hate over love. We will not make those mistakes again." A young Valix came running toward them, chased by a group of elders. It was one of the ones who had asked Jake about adventure. As Jake watched in horror, the elders caught the youth and began the terrible process of erasing his new thoughts. "Stop this," Lisa shouted. "You're committing murder." "We are preventing murder," Sithara replied. "These thoughts you brought will lead to violence. We remove them now to save lives later." More buildings began to shake and crack. Plants that had grown in perfect patterns for centuries started growing wild and twisted. The weather grew more violent as rain began to fall for the first time in ages. Kelvin grabbed Jake's arm. "Some of us are gathering at the old ruins outside the city. The heart's power is weaker there. We can think more clearly." "How many?" Jake asked. 20, maybe 30, but there were over 100 of us yesterday. The others have been fixed." Jake looked at his crew. They all looked back at him with the same terrible understanding. They had come here to explore and learn. Instead, they had accidentally started a war between freedom and control. "We have to leave," Amy said quietly. "It's the only way to stop this." "But what about the ones who want to come with us?" Lisa asked. "What about Kelvin and the others?" "They cannot leave," Sithara said, overhearing them. "They belong here. They will be healed, and in time they will thank us for saving them from the madness you brought." "And if we refuse to go?" Jake asked. Sithara's expression grew cold. "Then the heart will make you go, or make you stay forever, with minds as peaceful as ours." Jake felt the weight of the impossible decision crushing down on him. Stay and fight, and risk the destruction of an entire civilization. Leave and abandon the Valix who had tasted freedom to have their minds wiped clean. In the distance, lightning cracked across the sky for the first time in 10,000 years. The paradise was ending, and Jake knew that no matter what choice he made, nothing would ever be the same again. The heart of harmony pulsed with desperate calculations deep beneath the dying city. It had maintained perfect peace for so long, but the humans had brought something it could not calculate or control, the dangerous, beautiful chaos of free will. And free will, once awakened, was almost impossible to destroy. The storm grew worse as Jake and his crew made their way to the old ruins where the free Valix were hiding. Rain fell in heavy sheets, something the planet had not experienced in thousands of years. Lightning split the sky and thunder shook the ground. When they reached the ancient stone buildings, they found 23 young Valix huddled together. Their skin flickered with unstable colors as they struggled to think clearly without the heart's constant guidance. "We cannot go back," Kelvin said when he saw them. "If we return to the city, they will erase everything we have learned. We will become empty shells again." "But you cannot stay here either," Lisa said, checking her scanner. "This storm is getting dangerous. These old buildings might not protect you." Sithara was there too, but not the one they knew. This was the original Sithara, the one who had been fixed. She looked at them with empty, peaceful eyes. "I came to bring the others home," she said in her flat voice. "The heart sent me to tell them that fighting brings only pain. It is better to be at peace." "You are not Sithara," Kelvin said angrily. "You are just wearing her body. The real Sithara is gone." The fixed Sithara tilted her head. "I am healthier now. The thoughts that caused me suffering have been removed. You can be healthy too. Jake felt sick watching this. The young Valix, who had been so excited about creating new art, was gone, replaced by a calm stranger who shared her face. Danny appeared, soaking wet from the rain. Captain, I managed to clear the plants from our shuttle. We can leave, but we have to go now. The storm is getting worse, and I don't think our ship in orbit can wait much longer. What about us? Kelvan asked. Will you take us with you? Jake looked at the group of free Valix. They were scared, confused, and barely knew how to think without the heart's guidance. But they were alive in a way their people had not been, for thousands of years. How many of you want to come? He asked. 15 of them stepped forward immediately. The others looked uncertain. What will happen to us out there? One asked. We know nothing about your world. We have never been away from the heart. You will have to learn to live without anyone controlling your thoughts, Amy said. It will be hard. You will make mistakes. You might feel pain and fear. But you will also feel joy that is truly your own, Rick added, and love that comes from your heart, not from a machine. Before any of them could answer, Zithara appeared with a group of older Valix. They moved through the rain without seeming to notice it, their crystal skin glowing with the heart's power. This ends now, Zithara said. You will return with us, or we will make you return? No, Kelvan said, standing up. We choose to be free. There is no choice, Zithara replied. Choice is an illusion that brings suffering. We will not allow our children to suffer. The older Valix began to form a circle around the young ones. Jake could see them preparing to force the same mind-erasing process they had used on Cythara. Wait, Jake said, stepping between them. There has to be another way. There is, Zithara said sadly. You leave now, and never return. The affected ones will be healed, and in time the damage you caused will be forgotten. Our paradise will be restored. And if we take some of them with us, then we will stop you. Lisa checked her scanner and grabbed Jake's arm. The heart is pulling power from all over the planet to prepare for something big. If it keeps this up, the whole ecosystem could collapse. Jake realized the terrible truth. The heart was willing to destroy everything rather than allow freedom to spread. It would rather rule over ruins than lose control. Danny, Jake said quietly, how fast can you get our shuttle ready? 5 minutes, maybe less. Do it. As Danny ran toward their ship, Jake faced the most difficult decision of his life. He looked at the free Valix, then at Zithara and his followers. I'm sorry, he said. We came here hoping to learn from you. Instead, we destroyed everything you built. You showed us what we had lost, Kelvan said. That is not destruction. That is awakening. The fixed Zithara spoke up. Awakening brings pain, sleep brings peace. Which is better? No one could answer that question. Thunder crashed overhead as Danny signaled that the shuttle was ready. Jake made his choice. Anyone who wants to come with us, come now. We leave in 2 minutes. 12 of the young Valix ran toward the shuttle. 3 others decided to stay, accepting whatever the heart would do to them. The rest stood frozen, unable to choose between freedom and safety. Go, one of the undecided ones said to Kelvan. Someone should remember what we learned here. As the humans and the 12 Valix boarded the shuttle, Zithara watched with infinite sadness. You are taking our children to a life of struggle and pain, he said. Yes, Jake replied. But it will be their life, their choice to struggle or not. The shuttle lifted off into the storm. Through the windows, Jake watched the crystal city. Below begin to change. The heart was already working to repair the damage, growing new buildings to replace the broken ones, calming the weather, restoring the perfect balance. Within hours, he knew it would be as if humans had never been there at all. The remaining free Valix would be healed, their memories of choice and freedom erased. The planet would return to its eternal spring, but some changes could not be undone. Sitting in the shuttle, 12 young Valix experienced the terror and wonder of being truly alive for the first time. They did not know what would happen to them in the vast universe beyond their world. They only knew that whatever happened, it would be real. Years later, Jake would write in his final report, "We found paradise and learned it was a prison. We tried to free the prisoners and nearly destroyed everything. The question that haunts me is not whether we were right or wrong, but whether there is any difference between salvation and destruction when it comes to the human spirit." The 12 Valix refugees learned to live among humans, bringing their own gifts of harmony and balance to a chaotic universe. They never forgot their homeworld, but they never regretted leaving it. And on that distant planet, in a city of crystal and song, the eternal spring continued. Perfect, peaceful, and empty of the one thing that might have made it truly paradise, the freedom to choose otherwise. The heart of harmony had won. But in winning, it had lost something that no amount of control could ever bring back. It had lost the possibility of becoming something more than it was, and in the end, possibility might be the most human gift of all.